All righty. Good morning. I've had quite a few doctors that have said, excuse me, you're going to see a guy that used to light himself on fire and jump out of buildings. I'm your doctor. I told you you needed surgery. I told you you needed to take this medication. And you're listening to this guy who lit himself on fire and jumped out of buildings. Are you out of your mind? So, we're out to give physicians new tools with new rules. We're out to give the physicians integrity and a go-to first device that first does no harm. That's 34 years of development, from 2 devices to 1 device to artificial intelligence to a device that scans your body in search of any cell that doesn't match its memory of normal. What I'm going to talk to you about is common sense medicine. This isn't BS, this is science. So, the entire universe is electrical. The ionosphere is electrical. How many of you are familiar with HAARP? High Alpha Aurora Project? Okay, the technologies that's in, I love that. Yes, I'm familiar with all that stuff. So our equipment combines Chinese medicine and missile guidance chip technology, cybernetics. So it's a neural response device. So, all about body electric. I'm going to go through these slides fairly quickly because I've got a video I want to play for you that'll kind of say it all. And had this not happened to me, and had I not been a part of this, when I shattered my body and was told that I'll never do the things I love in life again. I was told by the doctors, you'll never surf or snow ski or fly your hang glider, and your career as a stuntman is over. I have to replace your knee joint. You're done, roll over, you're done. And I don't know how many doctors have said to their patients, you've got months to live. You got months to live. You better get your affairs together because you've got months to live unless you listen to me. Who made those guys God? Now, I work with a team of physicians that are the best in the business. You'll be able to talk to one of them. We'll be coming here in the next few minutes, Dr. Daniel Ferrier. Dr. Daniel Ferrier was an electrical engineer before he became an MD. Now he's involved, and he's been using our equipment for over 15, if not 20 years. Your immune system. How many of you think about your immune system as being one big capacitor with 50 trillion little capacitors? Your immune system is based on your body's ability to hold charge. How many doctors told you that? You're one big capacitor. So, and if your electrical biological train is homeostasis, your body's in a condition to heal itself all by itself. I like this little, when you open the eye and see if you can go inside the body and then realize we're not just this vehicle, but we're all the energy inside. So the common sense of it all is this. You're diagnosed with an EEG, an EKG, an EMG. What's the E stand for? Electro. So you're diagnosed electrically. How do they bring you back to life? When you have a big heart attack, what do? Stick a needle in your heart? Not often. What do they use? Defibrillator. So you're diagnosed electrically, you're brought back to life electrically. Why are you being treated electrically? And I used to go into a whole thing about the pharmaceutical industry, but I won't beat anybody up today. Now you can get treated electrically. Non-drug, non-invasive, and we have a 90+% success rate in the reduction of chronic pain due to injury and disease. 90+%. Nothing new. goes back to 1st century AD. How many of you are familiar with the Baghdad battery? It was discovered in 1935 in a dig. And they found this battery in the magician's quarters. The magician back in 1st century AD was the physician. Also well documented is a fish that they pond raised along the Nile region called a torpedo fish. And people in chronic pain would wade into this little pool and stand on these electrically charged fish until their pain went away. Well documented. 1st century AD.
Here in 1936, Wilhelm Koenig,
This is where they
an
discovered
Austrian
the battery. I won't
scientist,
go through it all
made a
and show you the
discovery which would
torpedo
challenge
fish, but
long-held.
if you want to see any of this footage, come by the booth. I'll be glad to show you all the stuff we've collected. I've been at this I broke my leg in January 6th of 1986. And who directed me to this therapy? Because I was ready to do a new show called Fall Guys. Don't know how many of you remember that show, but who was in that? Lee Majors. And who did I work with on $6 Million Man? Was Lee Majors. So when I was laying there with my leg in the air, I called Lee. Hey Lee, they're telling me I need a knee replacement. They've done a bone graft off my hip and I'm laying here with my leg in the air. And you know I can come back. He said, John, if you let them do that to you, you'll never come back. There's 100 younger, faster guys that don't have an $80,000 knee. You got to heal yourself naturally. He said, you got to get on a plane and fly to California and get this AccuJack machine. It's being used on Jack Nicklaus and Fuzzy Zeller. I was just in there yesterday, and Terry Bradshaw was in there. Get on a plane, fly to California, you can stay with me and heal yourself naturally. A year from the date of the injury, I ran my first triathlon on a leg they said would never bend. Still the same way. We'll show some photos of it. So you're familiar with TENS devices, so I want to be clear about what a TENS device is, because most of these microcurrent devices are all thrown under the category of TENS, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. That's a millionth of an amp, okay? Our technology is a trillionth of an amp. So it's picocurrent. It's very small. And this study was done on rat skin back in 1982. Just the studies and the studies and the studies. Voltage-sensitive ion channels didn't come into existence until 1991 with Dr. Nair and Dr. Sackman. So here's some of our microcurrent stimulation and placebo effect. The outcome at first was 37%, but after 2 months, it improved to 75%. This is with the older technology. So 75% was in the older technology. Now, what we're doing is an instantaneous rate of exchange. So what does that mean? That means as soon as I excite your tissue, I catch the behavior of your autonomic nervous system, both sympathetic and parasympathetic. So if your sympathetic has got a hold of you and got the gas pedal full down, just like me coming up to a turn trying to pull a stunt, if I can't pull my e-brake and throw it sideways, I'm going to go off the cliff. And that's what happens to your body when the sympathetic's got a hold of you and autoimmune starts kicking in. Okay, so we need to harmonize your central nervous system. So once again, immune system is based on your body's ability to hold charge. Nobel Prize 1991, Dr. Nair and Dr. Sackman proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that cells are controlled electrically and not biochemically. Uh-oh, said the pharmaceutical industry. Because now we're realizing that cells have little gates that allow waste product departure and nutrient intake. And they're known as voltage-sensitive ion channels. So if those channels are blocked and blood flow as well as electric travel the path of least resistance going around the damaged tissue instead of through it, you've got an area of stagnation. You've got an area of dis-ease. So these controlled channels are very important. When you put the right current in, they open and close perfectly and they enhance ATP. Here's another one of the studies you're probably familiar with, Elsevier. This was done in 2002. And this is an 82% improvement in radiation-induced fibrosis and head and neck cancer patients. Now, I'm familiar with cancer. My mother got cancer when I was 1. My mother was given a year to live, kind of like her son that said, "You'll never do what you love ever again." My mom hung in there for 10 years, but she was the guinea pig rat for cobalt. So she could barely move because it scarred her so badly. So this study on radiation-induced fibrosis in head and neck cancer patients and the 80+% success rate in bringing back range of motion and restoring them that they could move and that they could operate. So this is just some more of the studies. Come by and look at all the different studies we've got. The other one is on TMJ, TMD, and bruxine, which was done by Dr. Tony Marino. It was published by Harvard and UCLA, and this one was a 90+% success rate. Less headaches. The jaw worked again. The mandible was no longer out of function electrically. So there's we have the worldwide exclusive rights now to the device, the electroequiscope. And so mutual excitation once again. So as soon as I touch you with this device, it captures the behavior of your autonomic nervous system. So this is the difference between us and any other device. All the other devices out there, what they're doing is bombarding the tissue. They have a continuing waveform pattern, and they're hoping for a good response. They're exciting the tissue, but there's no response. What we do is we excite the tissue, then we capture the response of the autonomic nervous system, which is a mathematical signature. That's Ohm's law. This isn't BS, this is science. This is how your body operates. You're electrical before you're biochemical all day long. So we correct the imbalance. We bring in sympathetic resonance. How many know what sympathetic resonance is? That's what the yogi monks up in the Himalayas do. It took them about 30 or 40 years to get control of their autonomic nervous system. They meditate. They go within. That's why they can stick a 20-gauge needle through their arm and not bleed. They've got control of their autonomic nervous system. And we can do that in about 2 minutes. Capture your behavior and correct it. You little electrical beings, you're all electric. So the developer was involved with the creation of EEGs, EKGs, EMGs, lie detector technology. That's all built into our device. Little lie detector, and boy did I use that when I oversaw about 40,000 patient hours at Loma Linda at Castle Medical Center, where I wrote the clinical protocols. I had 20 people, each seeing 8 patients a day. 20 times 8 per day, SOAP note documented. Some things worked, some things didn't. But when you oversee 40,000 plus patient hours in 4 years, you get a pretty good idea of how to write a clinical protocol and how to be successful with it. So awaken to the body electric and view it with new eyes. So as we go inside, it was like Star Trek when they said, "Beam me up, Scotty." Well, in about 50 years, we'll be able to break you down and send you from place to place. It's all coming. So results, here's some that was done thermography-wise. Results. I'm involved with results-based medicine. They all want more studies out, give them more studies. We're working on more studies, but I'm also in the animal world as well. The mathematical signature of pain has been solved. Hook up to the electroequiscope. So here's our treatment, here's one of our devices. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine that old form of medicine, Chinese acupuncture. But instead of using a needle, we're using current. So we're going to go through the acupuncture points of the ear, the teeth, the hands, the feet, the spine, and do lymph drainage. So we're going to clean out all the dirt in your fuel lines. I love that with Bonnie and Clyde when they said, "C.W. Moss, what was wrong with the car?" Dirt in the fuel line, just blowed it away. And that's what we're doing with your body. We're removing all the dirt out of your body. All dis-ease is toxic response. If you remove the toxicity, you remove the response, which is dis-ease. It's not difficult. We've been led down this path of, you've got a complicated disease. I don't care what dis-ease you've got. I don't care what 1800 or early 1900 name they put on it. Where do you hurt? Put your finger on it. It's inflammation. The root cause of all disease. Inflammation. So here's the spine. Lymph drainage. Guided meditation. The yogi monks and what they're capable of. We got programmed wrong. We should be able to do 120, 130 years without a problem. But instead, we're living in an immunodeficient, toxic society, and it's based economically on your sickness. Not on your wellness, on your sickness. We've got an economy based on profiting on the sicker you are, the more money they're making. What a wonderful society we live in. But it gets better. A new view, looking at the body in an electrical point of view. That's what my leg looks like. You guys can all come look at it. I normally used to pull it up and show my leg. That's my knee joint. That's what it looks like today. And I'm crippled. They said I'd never snow ski or walk. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Year from the date of the injury, that's my longest triathlon I did. I did well in this one. It was the Kauai Loves You triathlon. It was a mile swim that turned into a 3-mile swim because the surf got to 20 feet. And everybody got sucked out to sea. So out of the 380 people, 80 made it to the bike. So I did good in this race because I was only racing against 80 because they all got sucked out to sea and I knew the currents at Honolulu. So that was a mile swim, 50 miles on the bike, and then a 10-mile run on a leg they said I would never be able to use again. Sorry about this one. This is my arm. So I really got this equipment for me, and then it just blew up. So that's a surfing injury. That's in 7 days, and that's 4 weeks later. I was only out of the water for 11 days, surfing, still surfing. And this will explain it from the medical point of view.
Doctor said the stuntman would never walk again, but after a strange and shocking healing technique, he's a walking miracle.
We want to change the face of medicine as you know it today into a non-drug, non-invasive world.
Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Sinatra. I'm a heart specialist, and I've been practicing medicine for over 40 years. I've written about 20 books. I've dealt with a lot of inflammation in my life. I mean, inflammation is the root cause of disease, whether it's heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, cancer. It starts with inflammation. In fact, even in my own hip, I needed a hip replacement, and for years I delayed it because I used the Echoscope. I mean, one of the magical properties of the Echoscope is that it alleviates inflammation. How? It does it through electrical mechanical energies, where it actually drives what I call ATP in a preferential direction. Whenever you bring ATP to the table, or adenosine triphosphate, this is incredible in the healing response. And I have to tell you, the Echoscope has been incredible, not only in the human model, but the animal model as well.
My name is Dr. Richard Delaney. I'm a clinical cardiologist and internist in private practice in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm board certified in internal medicine, cardiology, critical care, and geriatrics, and certified in functional medicine. I've had this opportunity over this past year to use this remarkable equipment firsthand on my patients. I've treated patients from knees to backs to shoulders to wrists, and systemic fatigue. And the protocols developed by John Thorp, when implemented by a physician who's trained simply in this technique, is outstanding. To be able to take a patient who has pain and no treatment option other than something invasive and give them a 45-minute, 50-minute treatment and have them walk literally out of the office with less pain, it's amazing. And it makes me a better physician.
For the patients that we've been treating, they're all very happy. They're all making improvement.
It's synergistically helping the nutraceutical energies, and when you do that, you thrive.
And for the last 3 years, I've been using this electroelectroscope for patients. Microcurrent therapy that not only takes the pain away, but gets to the cause.
30, 45 minutes with them, and they just pop up and, their jaw hits the floor because, what? No pain? Where did it go?
The things that this machine has been able to do for the injuries is astounding enough and keeping me to where I'm so glad I got it.
If you could come to my office and just film their faces as they walk down the hall and they go, what? Is the pain gone that quickly?
It is the most practical instrument I've had in my lifetime. This one is the go-to every time.
And our patients are ecstatic with the treatment. That's a win-win.
I've increased my practice over 35%.
When it comes into metabolic cardiology and using the Equiscope, I'm all in.
It's amazing. Really, truly is amazing.
Hi, I'm Brandon Oliver, professional running back for the Los Angeles Chargers, currently in my 4th year. Just about a year ago, third preseason game of the year, going against the Minnesota Vikings, I was catching the ball, overextended with my right leg and tore my Achilles. I had heard about the Equiscope. After surgery, I reached out to schedule a treatment. After 4 months of treatment, I was back up and running on the field, and I felt much stronger than I was before the injury. If it wasn't for the Equiscope, the doctors would have been right. I would have never been the same, and I would have been completely out of the NFL. But thanks to the Equiscope, I'm back and better than I used to be.
Hey guys, this is Cameron Lowe, professional athlete, played in the major leagues for 9 years, 16 years of professional baseball. I had a very blessed career, but I went through some major injuries. They wanted to do surgery on me. They said there was nothing they could really do for my disc issues. In fact, they just wanted to solder off my nerve so I wouldn't feel it anymore and I'd still be cranking on it. I didn't want to get surgery and I didn't want to take pharmaceuticals anymore. And I was at my wit's end, and by the grace of God, I was introduced to the electroelectroscope. Within one treatment, I got over a huge plateau. It also sucked the cortisone out of my elbow. My velocity jumped up from 91 miles an hour to 94 miles an hour, literally overnight, because my arm was able to move freely and my back was able to move more freely. It was just miraculous, and I would not have been playing Major League Baseball as long as I had I not met the electroelectroscope and had its incredible healing effects.
Today I want to talk to you about one of my close dear friends who I've thought the world of for over a decade. His name is John Thorp. He can do all the stuff that they said he'd never do again. That's number one. Number two is that he's healed tons of people. Number three is, for me personally, I had my hips and they said, hey, look, 10 years ago, you got to replace them with porcelain. On John, and what he did is he regenerated my hips instantaneously.
Ted Lillian, I'm a pitcher with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I had surgery and needed to get back on the field. Didn't have the time, the normal recovery rate of 6 months or whatever it would be. So I ended up giving John a call, and I didn't really think that it would happen quite this quickly, but I was throwing a baseball within 3 weeks after having my shoulder scoped and throwing without pain.
In one treatment of my elbow, John cured a 3-year arm injury, and my disc problems, which doctors said would never go away, have completely gone away. My degenerative discs have now regenerated again. Since I've used the machine, I have not missed a day of baseball.
But one thing that I definitely noticed was my explosiveness. That changed dramatically.
This is after his torn Achilles.
John, you really changed dramatically, Mom. I think this machine catapults you into another dimension of your athletic ability.
I'm Daryl Stuckey of the San Diego Chargers. Been a team captain for the past 5 years. I got hurt on a play where I tackled a man inside the 10-yard line on punt. I had surgery 2 weeks later. After my first treatment, I was able to go all the way off my anti-inflammatories. And I thank John, hopefully alleviate all of my inflammation. And pain-free electrically is the plan. As John would say, there's no placebo in racehorses.
Stephanie and I had the chance to work with All Have Another using John Thorp's certified machine. And he won his first race at 43-1.
I'll have another coming on to win it easy.
There are many races. Few become American traditions. But there's only one. Kentucky Derby.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby. I'll have another. On the outside is closing in. I'll have another. Has won the Kentucky Derby. Off in the Preakness. It's Bodymeister, and I'll have another in a dramatic Preakness. I'll have another Dan. He ran down Bodymeister to win the Preakness.
I'm Jeff Mullins. I'm a thoroughbred horse trainer here at Santa Anita. We have all kinds of injuries and disease. I was talking to a chiropractor friend of mine, and he mentioned this device that can help heal some of these injuries and diseases, and we discovered the electroequiscope. The effect of this machine had on me is tremendous. It's unbelievable, and we started working on horses, bowed tendons, suspensories, puffy joints, sore backs, sore hocks, sore feet. We even treated a horse with EPM. And after 3 or 4 treatments, the horse with EPM started feeling better, moving better, had more energy. In fact, a couple weeks after that, we ran him back and he won his first race.
River Boyne, with a dazzling turn of foot, has put the opener safely in his keeping. He scores by a half dozen lengths. River Boyne, with another lethal turn of foot, careering clear in the Pasadena to win from Inscom La La Land. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back the Pasadena Stakes winner for 2018, River Boyne, stringing together 3 impressive victories at this meet. It's in the post, kicks to the lead by 2. It's in the post, beats Flamboyant.
This is a 6-year-old horse.
Trophy presentation.
Sam Gabriel goes to It's in the Post.
It's in the post under the whip, being tackled by Hayabusa 1, and he's in a very close photo finish at the wire with It's in the Post. It could go either way.
It's in the Post wins the San Marcos.
Coming after him, It's in the Post, still in front. He's wandering about a little, but It's in the Post has the lead. It's in the Post, the Grade 2 guru, back to back in the St. Louis race. Flamboyant is next. Kenji Storm reaches the lead. It's in the Post is coming after him now. It's in the Post heads Kenji Storm. It's in the Post drives clear to win. It's in the Post, who has compiled an amazing sequence of Grade 2 victories at Santa Anita Park. It's his 5th straight Grade 2 win on the turf course here.
Electroequiscope is the new wave. I'm not sure that I could be without that machine at this point.
Now look at this come from behind victory. Come from so far behind, he's not even in the picture, and accelerates past them all. Now that's what an Equiscope horse will do.
XY Jet by 2 legs, Roy Agent swapping, Mind Your Biscuits coming from nowhere, XY Jet stopping, Mind Your Biscuits swooping and got up. What an extraordinary performance! Mind Your
That was for $2 million in Dubai.
What you're watching on the TV, it wasn't even in the shop.
Over the years, I've realized that one of the best ways of getting the body back into optimum health is using electrical energy. Oh, I am so optimistic for the future. We're going to have to rewrite the physiology textbooks. Vibrational medicine is the medicine of the future.
A device that'll scan your body, a device that'll enhance your immune system and do what God has created you to do, and that's to heal thyself. Sorry about that. I don't know what the delay was on there, guys, or how come it came out delayed on the, it's hard to watch when the mouths are moving a little. I'm more in front of the camera than behind the camera, so it was a little hard to watch. But I also noticed that Dr. Ferrier walked into the room while we were doing the presentation, so if you guys have any technical questions to an electrical engineer turned medical doctor, I'm one of the top medical doctors in the country, and doing all the innovative things with stem cell and things like that right here locally with Dr. Steenblock. So those horses that you saw run, the reason I put those up is because there is no placebo on an animal. And our results when you take a crippled dog and they walk, or I was just down in Dubai where the princess had a horse that she had for 30 years. It had colic badly. It had been laying down for 2 days and they were about ready to put it out of its misery. My guy in Ireland said, the palace doors just opened and we're invited in. I'm taking the Equiscope over now. So he went over, he put 2 plates on that horse, hit the button, and within 10 seconds that horse's ears stood straight up. The whole horse shook, got up off the ground, went over, ate its food, took a big poop, and drank its water. They opened the stall door and it ran around the pasture. And the princess said, I want to meet that man. So I get a call and they said, could you be at LAX tomorrow? The Royal Jet's there. I said, I can't get there that quickly. I'll have to do a little arranging. And they said, well, you could get on the private jet. And I said, I really don't want to fly on a small jet to the Middle East, they go, it's a 747. It's not small. So I spent a couple of weeks down in Dubai, and they purchased quite a few devices. And so we're waiting for them to pull the plug and introduce this to the world and some of our devices that are offshore. And with that, I'll turn it over. That horse, I'll have another. Never won a race. That horse, they paid originally $11,000 for it at the Keeneland sales. It was a throwaway. It had chronic inflammation in his ankles. So Doug O'Neill bought it for $35,000, and he said, John, he's got blazing speed, but he's so sore for 2 weeks, I can't get him to the gate. Do you think your machine would work on this horse? And I said, absolutely. $250 a session. $4,500 later, we come out at 43-1. I told Tyler, I said, let's put it on the nose. He said, he's never won a race. I said, you watch him run with no inflammation. So I said, let's put half. So he put 2,500 on the nose, and we crushed the field by 6 lengths. So you take a horse that had never won a race. Once I touched him, he never lost a race. That horse, 120 days later, sold for $10 million to the Japanese. Not a bad ROI. With that, I'll open it up for questions. I'm probably running over, but